Can zombies swim in Dying Light the Beast? Like they do in 7 Days to Die? Nope, they cannot. But it's a different story with volatiles, let me tell ya.
It's locked.
Hold on. I can't open it. Use the doors behind you. We'll go through section B. But be careful.
Why? What am I walking into?
Imagine a morgue where everything moves and wants to kill you.
Well, that's what I walked into when I started the game, and I was like, wow, I cannot wait. And this game is definitely not for someone who wants to just chill and hang back and explore, because there's literally no inch on the map where you do not get attacked by 1, 2, or many zombies. But you do have the beast mode, which I made use a lot, of course, because it's a lot of fun. At the beginning of the game, you don't have control over it. It just kind of activates. Later, you can activate it on command, and then it's always wise to wait until you actually need it. Because if you just have to smash zombies, you can do that with a weapon. But if you have to like face a boss or just any like larger group or big zombie, it's good to just, you know, use it then. And then of course when you find those soldiers near some of those military trucks, it's always good to swipe them, find some key cards, and then you find some really good loot. So I did that a lot. I couldn't like, that was always like an exciting thing for me to just kind of see what's in those trucks. It's definitely always something good, so it's never a waste of time doing that. And while I always try to pay careful attention to the time so I don't get stuck at night somewhere where I am not safe, I sometimes did kind of forget to look at the time, especially when you're inside. You don't really know if it's light out or dark out. So in this case, I came out and I was like, oops. Okay, I better go and find the fastest way to the safe house. But no matter how careful I was, or even running around without my flashlight on, the volatiles always saw me, found me, and started chasing me. And yeah, that was definitely scary. It was really good that I unlocked all the safe houses early in the game, because this gave me an opportunity to always find a safe house super fast before, you know, they could catch me. In this case, the safe house was not far at all, which was this tower, and I was here in the UV light, so they couldn't even do anything to me. Yeah, I also learned not to underestimate them, because they are way more aggressive and way more deadly than they were in Dying Light 2. And I didn't always make it to the safe house on time, but this time I did, and man, was I relieved. But the scariest part really was the asylum, because you're not dealing just with one volatile or two. There's a lot of volatiles in here. And all you can do is avoid them, but that's not always easy, because there's so many zombies in here that kind of make a lot of noise, and then call the volatiles and then chases on. And it's you have a very slim chance to get away. And then I had to learn that I had to come here over and over for certain achievements. So yeah, that was a thrill ride every time I had to come here. There are many weapons in this game, but I quickly found out the 3 or 4 weapons that I really needed to get the job done. One of my absolute favorite weapons was the crossbow, because it was just so easy to take out those pesky soldiers that constantly were shooting at you from all kinds of directions, throwing grenades at you. Sometimes you really did not know where it was coming from. But the crossbow was such a trusty tool. I just literally used it all the time against them. They didn't have a chance at all. Look at this guy. One more. Boom. Yeah, not even wasting my energy on them. But then came a time where I got sniped for the first time. And it took me a while to find out where it came from, till I found out the guy was way up there. So I made it my mission to go up there and see if I can get him. And it's not always guaranteed that you can just climb every tower, because there's barbed wire sometimes that prevents you from going further up. And then you have to actually zipline from another tower, which I did many times. But look at that. That guy did not see me coming. Yeah, you can forget about that. Bye-bye. And I loved the crossbow so much that I never really felt the need to try out the bow. But then, like, towards the end of the game, I was like, I may as well try it. Why not? It's been sitting in my inventory for so long. And it turned out to be actually really, really good, especially if you want to take out some enemies further away, which the crossbow is not so good for. And I did have a lot of fun with it, but look at that. My absolute favorite weapon is definitely that throwing axe that comes back to you. Not even sure where and how I found this. I just all of a sudden had it in my inventory. And I love to just kind of like throw it at the legs, at zombies inside a dark zone, unless I got attacked from the outside. Then I had to actually go in before I could do that. But then inside often I also kind of used the bow, which worked much faster and more efficient than any other method. And, you know, you want to take out those red dudes before they scream and alarm everyone in the whole neighborhood. But I sometimes also enjoy to just do the normal choke, because stealth gameplay is always fun, isn't it? Ah, look at that. The axe was just so amazing. I just loved it so much. I ended up using this axe like the most against almost every enemy. Just literally cleaning out whole dark zones just like that. They didn't even know what hit them. And I also used the throwing axe against a lot of bosses, including the final boss. It worked really, really well, because you can literally stay at a distance and just take your time and keep throwing your axe until the guy is down. Yeah, one night I just felt like it, and I kind of was like thinking, you know what? I could just stand here in the UV light outside this house and basically just see if I can take out volatiles like this. I have taken out volatiles before, but more like in self-defense. This time I wanted to basically just find out how much does it take to take out a volatile with my bow or with my throwing axe. And I didn't feel stressed at all, because they could not get me here in the UV light. But I did have to make sure, obviously, that I didn't step into the dark too long. Sometimes I had to go step in the dark a little bit to lure them out, because they kept running away after a while when they get really hurt from the UV light. And it sometimes took them really long to come back if I just stood here and waited. So I had to kind of go and get them in a way. And try again. Unfortunately, they do not have a health bar, so you never really know how close you are in taking them down. And here I got a little bit greedy. I did not pay attention. I stepped into the dark, and yeah, I was toast. So if you play with fire, you get burned. And there's so many cool things to find. You just always run into something new. Like here, I found this like hole in the ground, which is kind of like a basement, and it said there's no power. So I knew there was something fun to do here. I had to solve the puzzle first and actually go and find out where I can connect the power, which obviously was not down here, but I already knew that zombies in the water and power, well, that sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it? I had to go and turn on the generator and then get a fuse in the store, and I am back. And now let's go and see if we can do some damage and have a party here. This is good. Let's turn it on. Boom. Ha ha! And you can do that over and over. If you come back, they actually respawn. You don't have to connect the power again. You can just turn on the switch and you can go and get that loot. But don't forget to turn off the power before you walk into the water, of course. There's a baseball bat over here. I don't know if the weapon changes every time, but yeah, definitely worth a look. And if you're curious where that was actually behind a gas station, not saying more. Man, I absolutely loved exploring all those many apartments and buildings, basements, everything, because you found the craziest loot and sometimes safes. Here I found a note and I couldn't really make sense of it. And while I don't usually read letters and notes in any other games, in this game, they actually mean something and you should pay attention to them. In this case, it talked about a painting. And I was like, it's gotta have to be that. I read it again. It says something about a canvas. And I'm like, this is really the only canvas in the whole building. But how can I get this off the wall? And voila, there is a number. And this was actually the code to the safe, as I found out when I tried to use this number on this safe. And while I didn't think the safes had particularly good loot in them, it was always very satisfying when you actually could open them and just kind of find out what's in there. I really loved doing all the safe houses because it was always a little puzzle. You had to kind of find out how to get up, and they were all different. Some of them were super easy, others were kind of like head scratching, like, how the hell do you get up there? Sometimes you need like help from elements around the towers, but it was never really like hard. But this one, called the silos, was so hard. It took me probably, and I'm not even exaggerating, about 20 to 25 times until I finally made it up all the way to the top without falling. I have fear of heights, so this to me was exceedingly scary. I always get dizzy, even if it's just a game. To me, it feels real. It's in first person, so yeah, I just get queasy. And then I kind of lose focus, and that's how I usually fall down. And I think it's just the pressure of knowing that when you fall, you have to start all over from scratch. You can't save halfway through, like in some of the games where you're like, oh, I made it like to this point, let me save real quick, so if I die, I can continue from there. No, here you have to literally start over. And this climb was quite a long time, so I really hated falling down. I really hated it. The first few times I fell down, I actually just left. I was like, I'm not ready for this. I was tired. It was like after midnight. I was like, no, I can't do that. And that was a really good idea, because don't do things like this if you're tired. It's just not gonna go well. But yeah, here is my successful climb. Finally, I was like, oh my god, I can kick down this ladder now. So even if I do fail now, the first climb I don't have to do again. So while there is no safe halfway through, you have sometimes ladders like this that you can kick down. And I think that was great that they did this, because it is pretty punishing if you do fall down. And this part here was extremely scary because your character is wobbling. You feel like you're falling down any minute. I felt like I was about to puke. I was like, are we there yet? Come on, please. I mean, every little mistake here can cost me. But again, I have the ladder down, so this is just the last part. I already felt really good when I was here. And let me tell you, I was thinking about this moment for many, many days, because I was like, if I have done the silo, I'm so happy. That was actually the absolute last save point that I unlocked. But then you get up here and you get like just surprised by a ton of zombies. It's not done yet. You could still die and fail and have to do the climb again. But yeah, you're not done yet. Then you have to still connect the power, which they didn't make easy for you either, because you have to connect one of those long cables, find out where it goes to. And I found out I had to go all the way down again. But fortunately, there are ladders at this point. Well, let me tell you, I was so happy when I was finally done with this one. This one was really stressing me out. Maybe you're laughing now because maybe this one was easy for you, or is gonna be easy for you, but not for someone who has fear of heights. And while I do not mind first person driving at all because it feels super realistic, it was sometimes really hard to see the markers on the ground, especially when you were kind of on a bumpy ride and the hood was kind of in the way. And there are actually races you can do, and I did all the races in this first person driving. It would have been way better if I would have known earlier that there is actually a way to drive in third person. I actually found that out by accident, by just accidentally pushing the wrong button. Well, in that case, it was not the wrong button, it was the right button. I was like, oh my god, are you kidding me? You can drive in third person? Well, that would have been helpful. I did not drive too much though, because you do miss a lot of things if you do that. I just loved running and walking and doing parkour because I found the most incredible things doing that. So I would always suggest to any of my friends do the same, because there's really no rush in a game like this where the map is not really that large. You can go really fast from one edge of the map to the other edge, just speed running. It's not a problem at all, and yeah, you do find things that you would completely miss if you would drive all the way. Oh, and man, I must have helped at least 100 survivors. They're like everywhere. Sometimes you don't hear them and it says the survivor died and you're like, wait, what? There was a survivor I was supposed to help? Other times you hear them and you don't really know where it's coming from, and when you get there it's too late. But whenever I did get there, I felt really, really good, you know, taking out the zombies, helping him out. You have to be so careful when you smash the zombies around the survivor, because they always stand there like a little bit dumbfounded, and I'm like, come on, go, run. I want to see where you're going. Come on, where are you going? You don't even know where you're supposed to go. You really need my help. Well, so many times I try to follow those survivors to see where they're going. Sometimes I accidentally killed them, which really upset me every time. I was so angry. I just had to smash all the zombies around just to get my frustration out of the way. But yeah, they die so easily. I often wondered how they even made it that far. And I have really never paid attention to achievements in any games in the 2-3 decades that I played games, but recently I kind of started paying more attention to them, because I found out when you do them, you sometimes find things that you would never know about otherwise. So I don't do them for like bragging rights or points or any of that, but mostly just that the game leads me into places that I would never go and explore otherwise, or just, you know, find more goodies, which I literally did here by doing all those collectibles. For example, it led me to places that I would have never gone before. And while I found a lot of collectibles by just playing and exploring the world, there are some collectibles that I would have never found without a little bit help of Google, and I'm sure everyone has to do that, but they are definitely a lot of fun to do, and I highly recommend it. And as an artist, for example, I was definitely admiring all those beautiful murals all over the world. There are some incredible artworks that you can find. And I actually did all the collectibles before I finished the game, because for me, a lot of time when I do finish a game, I kind of lose interest in the game because it feels empty afterwards. It's actually not the case with this game, but I didn't know that. For example, there's this achievement where you have to take out 112 zombies with the flamethrower. I tried the flamethrower while I was still working on the story, but I wasn't impressed. And I also didn't like that it was quite costly to maintain, because you can't just find gas everywhere. And I also didn't think it was super effective in taking out zombies. There was other weapons that are way better. But then at the end, when I finished the story, I was like, let's just do it anyway, just for the heck of it, to see how long it takes to take them out. It took quite a bit of time to take them all out, because you have to like use a lot of gas to take out 112 zombies. But hey, I did it. Then there's this achievement where you have to do 6 headshots with the revolver within 20 seconds. And while I was always sure that I did that, I just never got the achievement. I tried it many times. I even found this really good spot where you have many right underneath you and you're pretty safe here. But yeah, if you miss a bullet, then you have to reload and the 20 seconds kind of go by. And also the other problem is revolver ammo is not that easy to get by. I had like hundreds and hundreds of pistol ammo and other ammo, but not revolver ammo, even though I went to the vendor all the time to see if we sell some ammo. It was very scarce. You only always got like 2, 3, maybe 6 bullets, and that was it. Yeah, eventually I lost patience and I was like, do I need this achievement? Does it do anything for me? Nah, I don't need it. Let's just go and do something else. So there's this monument in the middle of the map that looks really cool. And I was always wondering if I should climb up on it. And I was like, nah, I don't think you're supposed to. But I was wrong. I looked it up and there is actually an achievement where you have to climb to the top of it. And I'm like, how's this even possible? It's all flat. Well, there's got to be a way. So here I am, almost at the top. Look at me, super scared, almost puking, totally nauseated, and about ready to face the fact that I probably will fall down before I reach the top. And man, my hands were shaking and sweaty, and I was like, I just want to get to the top so I get my achievement, but I already know it will be super scary up there. I am so close, I can taste it, and now I am actually at the top. Look at that. Oh my god, I am completely shaky just standing here. I was so happy. Of course, I had to take a few photos. How can you not? Look how beautiful this view is of the city behind me. How do I get down from this thing? Well, that was not my only concern. I actually found out that the achievement did not register no matter how much I kind of danced around on the top of this, being all scared. But I found some goodies here in this bird's nest, so don't forget that if you come up. Some really good stuff, actually. But yeah, I actually went halfway down and came back up again, and their achievement never registered. So I was quite bummed about this, and I did not feel like going back up a few days later. Screw the achievement. I did it, and I even have proof that I did it. And one thing I also learned is that you do not have to grind for any money or any resources or any of that. At the beginning you get little and then you get more and more and more, and you have an abundance of resources and an abundance of medkits and an abundance of pretty much anything. So I always feel sorry for people who are kind of impatient and like try to find out, oh, how can you like make money really fast or get resources really fast? Why? If you had to do that, the game wouldn't be fun, wouldn't it? And as you can see here, I have almost 30,000. I used a tiny fraction of that money to buy ammo whenever I saw the vendor, sometimes some feathers to craft bolts, but basically everything else I just ignored. I didn't really buy anything at this vendor because you find so many awesome things in the world. You don't really need to buy much at all, and you also don't need that much money either. Well, of course, if you only play through the story, don't do anything else, no exploration, no nothing, then yeah, you're probably going to be short on money. But other than that, you will have plenty. So whenever I was near a vendor, I went right to him or her and sold all my valuables, and usually made between 1,000 or 3,000, depending on how often I visited, which was easy money. So I spent 105 hours exactly to finish the stories, including doing all the collectibles and just some exploring in general, which is kind of normal, what you should do. And then after that, I spent probably another 10 hours or so doing the additional achievements that I could do and just do a couple more dark zones that I missed. And there's probably way more things that I could like go and explore, like tiny little things here and there, but I kind of like at the point now, like I said, once I finish the story, I just don't feel it as much anymore. I just feel like, what's the reason for me to still be here? But that's different for everyone. You know, you could probably explore this world another 100 hours if you really want to. And there's actually only about a couple of bugs that are kind of annoying and where you have to kind of Google it to find out how to get around it, because it's basically breaking the mission. But there is a solution for it, so you will find it. Other than that, they're just small little glitches and things like, you know, things glitching through the wall or the stuttering that sometimes happens when you open trunks. But other than that, the game was fantastic. It was a ton of fun. It was just mind-blowing. It was absolutely fun to play. And yeah, I played this game all solo, absolutely not a problem. I find it solo is more immersive because it's more scary. You don't have someone with you constantly that gives you like this safety blanket. You're doing things on your own. You're scared on your own. Yeah, I would definitely recommend playing this on your own, at least the first time around, and then maybe after that play with a friend. Or maybe not even play the whole story around with a friend, but just go and have fun with a friend by just doing, creating chaos in the world or something like that. That's probably what I would do. But yeah, solo is really the way to go in this game. So if you're still here, thanks for sticking it out. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment if you want. If you have any questions, I might be able to answer them. And subscribe if you haven't yet. I hope to see you next time. Until then, happy gaming. Take care. Bye-bye.